everyone, this is Maki. The setting of the GUNDAM SEED series is the world of cosmic error. Today, we are going to continue analyzing the history of the cosmic error. Last time, we looked at the process that led to the formation of the organization known as ZAFT. This time, we will look at how ZAFT evolved from a political organization into a military one. And then the organization known as Earth Alliance makes its appearance in the history of the cosmic error. Little by little, humanity begins its march towards war. What tragedies will unfold? Cosmic Error 67. By this year, the war had practically begun. With the birth of ZAFT, the first prototype of a mobile suit had already been completed. This happened in Cosmic Era 65. In 67, the first practical mobile suit was finally completed. The mobile suit, completed at this time, was later known as GINN. However, in 67, this mobile suit was simply called ZIN. The France secretly rebuilt Maya City and began mass production of the ZIN. Without informing the controlling nations, they began to build up their independent military force. The following year, Cosmic Era 68, Sigurd Klein was elected chairman of the France Supreme Council. With Sigurd, the founder of ZAFT as chairman, many of the council members were now associated with ZAFT. As ZAFT members became the majority on the Supreme Council, the momentum for independence began to grow. The France Supreme Council decided that gaining autonomy for France and securing independent trading rights would be its top priorities. The month after this resolution, France formally announced the Council's decision to the controlling nations. The controlling nations strongly opposed France's decision. They flaunted their military might to intimidate France. In response, France also built up its military forces, signaling its intention to stand firm. As tensions between France and the controlling nations increased, the activities of the Blue Cosmos on Earth intensified. The persecution of the coordinators living on Earth intensified, forcing most of them to migrate to France. This created a clear divide between two races, separated by two places, Earth and space. During this time, Sigurd Klein was secretly negotiating with the United States of South America and the Oceania Union. By the way, the Oceania Union does not appear in the TV anime. It's a nation centered in the Oceania region of Earth and not part of the France-controlling nations. ZAFT's current area base is located within the territory of the Oceania Union. The plant directorate had a monopoly on the materials and technology produced by plant, and the South American and OEM Union had taken a critical stance toward the plant directorate. That's why a top-secret deal with plant was such an attractive proposition. Through these negotiations, Sigurd Klein secured an agreement for food imports and industrial exports between France and the two nations. This act was considered a serious betrayal by the France-controlling nations. Upon discovering the deal, the controlling nations demanded that France remove Sigurd Klein from his position as chairman. They also ordered the immediate dissolution of the Supreme Council and the complete surrender of France's autonomy. It was a blatant demand for subjugation. The France rejected this demand. In retaliation, the controlling nations restricted food exports to France. France attempted to import food from South America. However, the controlling nations responded by launching a military attack on the cargo fleet carrying the food sinking the ships. This attack resulted in the deaths of hundreds of coordinators. This incident came to be known as the Mandelbrot incident. However, it remains a mysterious event. The historical records of the cosmic era simply state that tensions between plant and the controlling nations escalated as a result of the Mandelbrot incident. Destroying a ship carrying unarmed civilians and killing hundreds of people is a highly significant event. Indeed, such an incident alone could easily have triggered a full-scale war, and yet the record simply states that tensions escalated. It almost seems as if someone was deliberately avoiding the outbreak of war, perhaps in order to provoke an even more serious conflict at a later date. Of course, the truth remains completely unknown. What do you think? And so the ZAFT military, as seen in the TV anime, was born. Under the leadership of Patrick Sauer, ZAFT, originally a political organization, began its transformation. It merged with the internal security forces of the plant and adopted mobile suits as its primary equipment. The military organization ZAFT was born. In the same year, Cosmic Era 68, a major event occurred that would significantly influence the course of history. A major biohazard broke out in the space colony Mendel. The disaster claimed many lives, and it was decided that Mendel would be abandoned. Regarding the biohazard, it was officially announced that decontamination had been completed through mass exposure to gamma radiation. However, rumors quickly spread among the population that this was an act of terrorism by Blue Cosmos. Incidentally, the novel version of Seed Freedom clearly states that Mendel was destroyed by a terrorist attack. Whether the terrorists were actually Blue Cosmos remains unclear. However, Blue Cosmos is broadly defined as an ideology opposed to the coordinators and genetic manipulation technology. There are no specific qualifications required to claim allegiance to Blue Cosmos. As soon as someone feels opposition to the coordinators in their heart, they essentially become part of the Blue Cosmos. Given this, it's reasonable to interpret the attack on Mendel as the work of Blue Cosmos. Meanwhile, Patrick Sauer has summoned Aslan back to plant from the moon city of Copernicus. The reason for Patrick's decision to call Aslan back to plant remains unknown. Perhaps he thought plant would be safer, or perhaps he wanted to use Aslan's extraordinary abilities for his own ends. As for Kira's first appearance, they became increasingly concerned about the unstable political climate and decided to move to Heliopolis, a resource satellite of the neutral nation of Orb. In Cosmic Era 69, Siegel Klein made an important decision. He initiated formal food production within plant. Several plants were converted to serve as food production bases. The city chosen as the main food production base at that time was Junius City. This name may be familiar to many. Junius 7, which plays a pivotal role in the Seed series, refers to the seventh plant within Junius City. In response to the plant's decision to begin food production, the controlling nations of Earth declared we will eliminate this action, even by military force if necessary. They began to mobilize their military forces for threatening marvelers. This was the moment when the ZAFT military carried out its first official military action. At this time, the Plant Council and ZAFT forces fought their first battle. Although this battle was small, compared to the wars that followed, it could mark the true beginning of a long history of conflict. The Z mobile suit was officially unveiled, and ZAFT launched an attack on the space forces of the controlling nations. Although the space forces had far more mobile armor than the ZINs, the superiority of the ZINs meant that the space forces were pushed back, resulting in a ZAFT victory. Colonel Halberton, a member of the Atlantic Federation Space Forces, took note of the military potential of mobile suits. He proposed the development of a new weapon to his command, codenamed G, but the idea was rejected. However, Halberton did not give up and, with the support of certain members of the government, began the secret development of this new weapon. After ZAFT's victory, Sigel Klein demanded complete autonomy for plant and equal trade relations with the controlling nations. Around this time, Kira Yamato enrolled at the Heliopolis Industrial College. Negotiations between plant and the controlling nations took place several times, but remained deadlocked without resolution. Eventually, Plant declared that it would cease all resource exports to Earth unless a clear answer was provided by the 1st of January, Cosmic Era 70. Tensions between Plant and the controlling nations continued to escalate. On the 1st of January, Cosmic Era 70, another tragic event occurred. The deadline set by Plant had arrived, and the controlling nations were due to give their answer. However, on the way to the council meeting, one of the Plant Council members was killed in a terrorist attack. As a result of this incident, negotiations between Plant and the controlling nations were broken off. A group calling themselves Blue Cosmos claimed responsibility for the attack. However, it was soon revealed that the controlling nations had supported the attack. When this was confirmed, Plant immediately halted the transport of resources to Earth. The controlling nations were heavily dependent on Plant for the production of essential materials. With the suspension of resource shipments, the controlling nations began to suffer severe shortages. But was this terrorist attack really orchestrated by the controlling nations? The fact that they were so dependent on Plant meant that they must have known that cutting off resource supplies would cause hardship in their own countries. It almost seemed as if the relay was to destroy any chance of reconciliation between Plant and the controlling nations, but the truth remains unknown. The governments of the controlling nations then turned to the world stage, appealing to the world about their dire circumstances. This led to a growing sense of hostility among the Earth's population towards Plant and the coordinators. Instead of focusing on rebuilding the lives of their citizens, the governments devoted themselves to further inciting hatred towards the coordinators. However, not everyone on Earth harbored hatred for the coordinators. The United Nations on Earth sought to resolve the deteriorating relationship between the controlling nations and the Plant. The UN Secretary General summoned both sides and arranged for negotiations to take place in the lunar city of Copernicus. This meeting, known as the Lunar Conference, was another attempt at peace that would eventually be destroyed by a great tragedy. In later history, this event came to be known as the Copernicus tragedy. The representatives of the controlling nations, including the Secretary General and other UN leaders, were all killed in a terrorist attack. Sigel Klein, who was scheduled to attend as Plant's representative, survived the event because his shuttle was delayed by mechanical problems, causing him to arrive late and miss the tragedy. The truth behind this incident also remains completely unknown. The Atlantic Federation, a major controlling nation, accused Brandt of orchestrating the attack. They declared it a declaration of war by the coordinator against the Naturals. This declaration would come to be known in history as the Alaska Declaration. In response, a new international organization, the Earth Alliance, was formed to replace the now destroyed United Nations. The Copernicus tragedy occurred on 5 February, Cosmic Era 70. The Atlantic Federation led the announcement of the formation of the Earth Alliance just 2 days later on the 7th of February. In just 2 days, the birth of a new Earth-wide organization was proclaimed. Such swift action raises many questions. Why were they able to act so quickly? The truth behind it also remains a mystery. And so the stage was set. The two colossal forces that would divide the world of the Cosmic Era, ZAFT and the Earth Alliance, were fully formed. Today we have reviewed the events leading up to the formation of the Earth Alliance. The Mandelbrot incident, the terrorist attack on the Brandt Council member, and the Copernicus tragedy, there are far too many unnatural occurrences. These events seem reckless to an extreme degree. The Mandelbrot incident could easily have triggered an all-out war. The terrorist attack on the Brandt Council only served to push the controlling nations further into a corner. And the Copernicus tragedy took the lives of those at the end who were striving for world peace. Each of these events had only one result: to deepen the conflict between the Naturals and the coordinators. In Sea Destiny, it was revealed that organizations such as Logos and the group known as the Family from the Astray series have been manipulating the war from behind the scenes. Perhaps these events have also been controlled by the same shadowy forces. As we continue to explore the complex history of the Cosmic Era, more may come to light. That's all for today. Thank you for watching until the end. I look forward to seeing you next time.